Welcome to Restore Balance and Harmony. My name's Marie McGrath. I am a creatrix transformologist and women's empowerment coach. Today, I want to talk to you about our gender differences. Now, stick with me, guys. This is really, really important. Okay, right now, everything we do, we are trying to squeeze a square peg into a round hole, basically by using software that doesn't fit our hardware, if you get what I mean. Say you had, for example, quick, easy overview, you had an iPhone and you had a Samsung Galaxy, okay, which is an Android, okay? Both phones can do exactly the same thing. They can text, make calls, they can get on the internet, search and download stuff, they can take photos and videos, blah, blah, blah. Download music, the lot. They can all do that. They can download the same songs, they can download the same information from the internet. But they need different software for their hardware, okay? A iTunes app cannot be downloaded on a Samsung phone. Do you get it? They are different hardware. Even though they can do the same things, they are different. And that is the one thing that is not being taken into account in the personal development world. The differences between men and women. Okay, we all have software, hardware. We have this hardwired brain. It is our hardware. It is our computer hardware, the board, motherboard, okay? Our brain, our body, everything that goes on. We are a complete human being. So everything that goes on in the body is run by the brain, for one, and it is different for the man and the woman, okay? Now, I know this is like pushing shit uphill, basically, because there are so many out there who do not believe that there is a difference. And if you had a man say to you, well, of course they're the same. Women and men are the same. So, okay, when was the last time you had a period? One huge difference. Okay, it is a massive difference. And it's not just that we have, 5 to 7 days in a month that are different. It is that entire, every single day of every single week of every single month, there are different hormones running through our system that make us different to a male. Okay, and that's just one of the differences I'm going to talk about in this video. I have some notes here that I am going to look at because I really, really want you to get, to understand these differences, to understand why you might be beating yourself up because you can't do things that, a different person says that you should be able to do. Why do you feel different? Why are things so much harder? The one thing that we do as women is beat ourselves up. Now, I will, for a lot of these things that I talk about, okay, it's general, okay? There is an exception to every rule. When I talk generally women, it's 4 out of 5 women, okay, who struggle with certain things or do things differently, okay? And with men, it is 5 out of 7. Okay, 5 out of 6, 5 out of 7 men who are the general. Okay, there are exceptions to the rule. There are, glitches in the hardware. So I am talking in a general way, and I am going to be talking scientific. Okay, there is a lot of facts. Okay, that we're not taught, we're not brought to our awareness, and we only know what we know. So the point of this video today, I guess, is to get you to understand what is going on. What are these differences so that you can live your life in a better way for you? You can understand where there are differences. You can understand why, you might be, rousing at your kids or your husband, and they don't get where you're coming from. They don't see things in the same way that you see things. Okay, women, we view the world differently to men. Okay, start off, our eyes, our retina. Okay, we have, I'm going to get it right here because they're ganglion cells. Okay, we have more of one than men have of the other. And it is where is it? M ganglion cells is what the men have, and we have more P ganglion cells. So basically what that means is that we see the world differently than men do. We view the world, we process that information differently when it comes in. It goes through our cells and it gets filtered in a completely different way. That could be one of the reasons why boys, and it is one of the reasons why they like things that move, they like cars, and they like, where we are, and I'll get into that in a bit more in a moment as well, is that we focus more than, in the peripheral state, which men are as well, okay? So our cells, our eyes are different, okay? The way that we process information, the way that it comes in, and we look at it, and we see it, and we filter it, and it goes through our brain, it is different. Okay, and we then perceive the world differently than men do. Okay, and that is just, science. It is our eyes. It's not something that we have control over, and it's not something that anybody teaches us, that we have different retina cells than boys do, so therefore it's normal for them to view the world in this way, and it is normal for us to view it in that way. The biggest, I think, difference is hormones. Okay, and I will talk, there's so many different hormones, okay, in a woman's body. Just crazy how many hormones. But I guess to give you, a really basic overview, okay, a boy's life of hormones goes when they hit puberty, and then it goes flatline for the rest of their life, okay? They have one big thingy in the middle, and that is it. Now, women... And it is a misconception out there as well that our hormones start going crazy when we get to puberty, or we don't actually have any hormones raging through our body until we get to puberty, which they do then really rage. There's a study, and this is science, in the last only 2 years, they've done studies on babies, on 6-month-old babies, okay? They did the boys and the girls, but they have found that there is a fluctuation in hormones in a cycle, okay, weekly, monthly, and it may be the slightest little bit, but it is there, okay? We have these hormones in our body moving along, giving us that cycle our entire life. So we start off and it's really like this, and then that gets a bit more wavy, and then it gets a little bit more wavy, when you're coming up, and it starts really going like this, and then we hit puberty and it's like this. I'm putting my hand down where I can see it, and it goes like that until we hit menopause, but then it only goes down a little bit. It is still there. Our entire life we have hundreds, if not thousands, of hormones raging through our body, okay? Now, men cannot understand this. It's not that they don't want to, or that they don't want to help. They cannot fathom what that feels like because they have not experienced that. Okay, it is a major difference, and it needs to be taken into account in everything that we do, in our personal development work, in the way that we are treated as humans, in the way that scientific studies are done for medications. Okay, do you realise, and I know this was on Oprah, so, it's out there for the whole world to know, that up until 10 years ago, 100% of testing for our medications was done on male castrated mice. So they had the males, and then they had male castrated mice instead of female mice. Okay, now why did they do that? Because, and they will say, the female mice were too erratic. Okay, they were fluctuating all over the place, and we couldn't get test results. We just couldn't get them. They were too erratic. But guess what? Our hormones are erratic, and it needs to be taken into account, to our being. Okay, that is who we are. We can't change that, and we need medications, we need processes, we need tools that take this into account. Now, for the massive big difference, it's probably a little bit off topic, but this has come out in the last couple of years, that the medications that scientists were using, that they created for stroke victims, okay, it was the same medication for men and women, And they were getting better results in men. But, because of our ability to move from left brain to right brain, we do actually have the ability to recover better and faster from stroke, because we do go between, we have 22% more connectivity, which is another difference. So, when one side of our brain is hurt, we can swap over more easily to be able to recover. But when they were, doing tests on how many people had strokes and blah, 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 women were dying more often. So they actually started testing this medication on female mice, because it had always been tested on male mice. Now, they found that this medication that they had been using for God knows how long actually had a detrimental health effect to women. It was actually harming women instead of helping them get over this stroke. So it is a very, very, I can't think of the word, it's very important to realise that these differences exist, and that we need, as women, we need to understand them. As women, we need to fight to get testing done on female mice, because we are different, and they could be giving us medications that are harming us instead of helping us, because they've never been tested on the female species. Okay, we are having medications that have never been tested. Our hormone replacement treatment, our period medications and pain treatments and everything in between, heart medications, everything. Okay, so I really, really do think it's important to understand these differences. Okay, so that's in a medical context. But like I said, if we don't understand this, if we don't know this is happening, then we just keep being quiet and keep going along with how the world is going right now. And nobody, stands up and says, hey, we're different. We need our own testing. We need our own tools. We need our own software that fits our hardware. Okay, so that might have been a little bit off topic, but I think it's really important to know. Now, another difference, okay, we've gone over some of the hormonal differences. There are so many, okay, and they affect us in such a big way. Okay, they are a part of us. They are what makes us female. They are what gives us the ability to create human life. Okay, now the male species cannot do that, and that is a really, really big job. If you stop and you think about that, you create a human being inside of you, still while running a body, while running a brain, while functioning and doing everything that you normally do, as well as, your body creating your brain. Your hardware is wired to do that. And it has all of this hormonal stuff. Okay, I'm not going to, go on with 1,000 different hormonal names, but, they're there and they're working. Something else that you may be interested in if you've had a baby or if you are yet to have one. Women often, when they're pregnant, they talk about baby brain. They have these moments where they go blank. Oh, I can't remember this or I can't remember that. And you know what? They beat themselves up. Oh my God, this baby brain's terrible. But guess what? It is a natural part of your body, helping you to shut down, to rest that brain, to give it some peace. And that just breaks a cycle that you may be in, if it's stress or worry or anxiety or whatever. It may not even be that, but it is giving your brain that shutdown where all of that energy, all of that goes to the baby. So it's actually a really, really good thing when you have baby brain, because it's helping the baby. It's also giving your brain a rest for a moment. It might come at inconvenient times, but that's what it's doing. Okay. Did anybody ever teach mothers that? No. And you know what? You may say, well, you know what? I've got baby brain after I've had the baby. Or perhaps your brain, after that release of hormones that happened when you were pregnant, your brain says, wow, I really like this shutdown mode. Even if it's just for a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes, it just gives me a rest, to refresh, to reboot. Okay, your hardware needs that time, and that's why it may continue to give you those moments. And you might think it's moments of nothing. What if you thought of it as moments of peace? Oh my God, I have a moment of peace. Okay, let's just sit and enjoy this. And it can bring you back down. It can get rid of the whatever hormones are being released in your body at that moment, okay, to just calm and have that little bit of peace, to reboot, okay? Completely different system than men's, okay? They don't have that ability. But then they have abilities to have their peace in other ways, which I will talk about in a minute. Okay, what else? There are so many hormonal things that I could go on with, but okay, the brains. Okay, and so many people say, there is no difference. There's no difference, and even women who have been in this world and have been told that their entire life, they really struggle to think or believe that there's a difference between the brain in the male and the female. Now, for one, without what I'm going to go into here in a minute, okay, I'll just say there's more grey matter, okay, in a male brain. There's more white matter in a female brain. What does that mean? Okay, so basically, they are the male with their grey matter are able to localize, I guess, information. Okay, they are able to split it. They're able to focus on one thing at a time. So they can go to work and think about work. Okay, they can go home and think about home. They can watch the TV and think about nothing. Okay, they have a nothing box. That's a really, really great video, YouTube clip. It's from a man. If you want to go and have a look at that, it's called Tale of Two Brains. Okay, it's out there. It's scientific fact. And there are a lot of people doing different talking about the difference. I've just got a bit fuzzy there. They can localize, okay? If you were to think of the male brain and you wanted a metaphor, it's like a country dirt road. It's just straight, okay? It's just moving along. They do one thing at a time and they go, okay? Then they stop and they choose another thing and then they go, okay? Women, we multitask, okay? We have the ability. Well, actually, our brain is this great big wire, okay? It's just everything, okay? We're thinking about the kids, we're thinking about work, we're thinking about home, we're thinking about the hubby, we're thinking about 100 different things all at once. And we can't separate them, okay? We don't have the ability to go to work and turn off and just think about work. Okay, you're at work, you're thinking about the kids, you're thinking about what you're going to cook for dinner, you're thinking about the dirty cats, you're thinking about what you have to do, what's the school excursion, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we do not have the ability, like a man, to shut down and separate things, okay? Now, we are the nurturer. We are meant to do that. We're meant to care about the kids. We're meant to be in that role. Now, and men, they have their role too. They were created to be the protector, the provider, the fighter, okay? And that's, leads into another difference, okay? Where we focus, okay? Women are focused. They're in that, whatever they're going on, they're there and they're looking at their baby and they're concentrating on that, and men are able to go into peripheral. And I'll just, show you. You can see out here, okay, instead of being in here. That reason was so that they could see danger coming, okay? They have this total wide vision, okay? They can see. Now, I'm not to say that women can't train themselves to do that, because they can. I have amazing peripheral. I can see these. If I'm concentrating over here, I can see these fingers about there, okay? I lived out in the country. Every time I got on the road, there were kangaroos jumping out. Left, right and centre. So my peripheral grew. I practiced and I taught myself, and I have that ability, and you do too. And when you're out there, you can actually create more peace and openness in your life instead of being stuck. But the men were there so that they could see danger coming. They could react. They could also, in their hunter role, they could see animals coming. They could see them at a distance, and that gave them the ability to be great at what they did. Differences. I'm not saying any difference is better or worse than the other. They are just differences, okay? And we both have when we were created, okay? We were created with a blueprint, with a hard drive, okay? And we have software, or we should have, some we do, but we should have software for our own computing system, okay? If you were to think of it in those terms. Okay, some other differences. What are we going to talk about now that I thought was really, really important? The male is more scientific, more logical. Okay, they use their logical brain. We are emotional. We're emotional beings, okay? We have very little control over that. We have 8 times more crying hormone flooding our body, okay? That's why. We are more emotional. They're more logical, okay? And that has the benefits for them in that workplace environment, okay? Men do not have that maternal instinct built in, okay? They have to be told that they're a father. Where a woman, she knows if she's a mother, okay? And that comes with all of those hormones that I keep talking about that are raging through our body. Men are more left brain, women are more right brain, okay? So they're more neural, they're more, logical, and that's, part of that as well. I did have, what's the smaller, the 25% more, 23% more connection between the male and the female brain, okay? All of these are there for specific reasons, okay? And they change how we live our life. Now, if you can understand that there are so many differences, and our female being, okay, is a beautiful thing, and it is meant for specific purposes, okay? We are meant to create life, and that is a massive, big job. We need to have tools that take into account all of those things out there, all of those things inside, to be able to give us the right software to heal the ills that happen to us, okay?